Hello, how's it going? Welcome into Rover Sports, guys. I know some of you are funneling in right now. Feeling a tad bit, I'm not going to say under the weather, just the allergies are catching up. It's late in the evening. A little bit disappointed, yelling at some of the football games. Sunday, scary, starting to creep in right now. Not too excited for the work week. Not excited to get up on Monday. That's going to suck. And we got a long week until we get more football next, Friday and Saturday. So, it's a tough predicament here that we kind of sit ourselves in here. And but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to troop this motherfucker out, and we're going to talk, and we're going to talk from the damn heart. I'm not a fan of statistics. In fact, I'm usually too lazy to get statistics. But tonight we're going to talk about the New York Giants, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts on that team and about Ben McAdoo and everything that I saw today from that football team. And then after that, if I still have the energy, we're going to talk a little bit about, the Rams and Sean McVay and how unbelievable that outcome was. We're going to talk about the Panthers and the Buffalo Bills. Three teams that really I didn't think would have a chance today, and they all shocked me pretty damn good. Going to make sure that my Twitter is up and running here for you people on Periscope, and then I'm going to get into my New York Giants rant, and we'll see how it goes. So just hold on 1 second here as I refresh my computer, and I will be back hopefully 30 seconds, and I just want to make sure that we are off and rolling. Okay. Looks like we are in. Okay, let's fucking go. New York Giants, 0-4. I said after the Eagles game that I wanted Ben McAdoo gone. I wanted him out of my fucking life. This big blob of a guy that treats Eli Manning like complete shit. I want him gone because I think he could be an asshole. Doesn't treat his players very well. He's not fun. Not like a Carroll, like a Pete Carroll that's in your face. Not an inspirer. Not going to inspire the football team. That's what I think of, I want a football coach that can lead together like a Jim Harbaugh. Well, people will shut the fuck up and they'll listen to what the guy has to say. And Ben McAdoo's just staring at his play sheet and calling shotgun, 2-yard throws every single possession of the game, okay? That's really what Ben McAdoo has represented is 2-yard dump-off throws. He doesn't run the football, and the reason the offensive line sucks is because in training camp, he doesn't give a shit about practicing running out of the eye. He doesn't have Eli sit under center, and he doesn't hand it up to Paul Perkins, and he doesn't let guards hit hats on hats. Preseason, it's all fluffy bullshit. That's what July and August are for, to gain toughness. Instead, Ben McAdoo makes no toughness at all. Team soft as Johnson's baby powder, soft as shit. And that's why against the Eagles, they admitted that they had no business competing with that defensive line, so they played kind of like pussies and threw the ball every single possession and played like pussies of getting the football and throwing it out of their hands, throwing on the 1-inch line. A real pussy move is to throw on the 1-inch line, and that's what Ben McAdoo is. He's made this team into a bunch of pussies. And Odell Beckham, bottom line about Odell Beckham Jr., he's dancing, he's celebrating touchdowns in the end zone. He's all about being the best receiver of all time, but the thing is, when you're trying to be the best receiver of all time, you're also making it more difficult for your quarterback to be able to operate when you're complaining and you're worried about me, myself, and I. I've never seen a team ever make the playoffs, have a game at Lambeau Field, and decide that it's appropriate on the eve of preparation week to go travel to Florida from Washington, D.C., and stay out till 5 o'clock in the morning and fuck up your sleep cycle. But under Ben McAdoo, hey, that's just a slap on the wrist. Not even a slap on the wrist at all. John Mara's supposed to be a respectable owner, and that's the shit that goes down. Now, today, Wayne Gallman actually ran the football. This was the best that this team has played all year long. They got the football. They ran the damn football today. So, Wayne Gallman actually was running the ball, and I was like, holy shit, where has this been all year long? Eli Manning was out there operating. They were throwing to Brandon Marshall. Marshall had his best game today, and this offense looked okay. Now, the defense had tons of holes, but the defense is a championship defense, and those are damn correctable, okay? Eli Apple was lost in coverage, and, the defense is getting worn down, and that stuff is all going to happen, okay? That it's going to happen eventually, right? When you're out on the field all year, you're going to make some damn mistakes when you're playing football. Bottom line is this offense, they started to run the ball. Now, they don't run it out of the eye, but they started to run the ball. They started to play together, and this offensive line started to push some people, and they started to mix it up genuinely a little bit. Not enough, but a little bit. And a part of me was saying, as I watch this game, maybe I don't want Ben McAdoo to go. This team looks like it's actually performing relatively well. And the Giants had a 2-point lead, in Tampa Bay after Tampa Bay got skull-fucked by the Vikings. So essentially, I thought Tampa Bay would come out angry. I thought that they would play really angry football, and the Giants were right in that game. Now, thanks to Nick Folk being, sideways Nick, the Giants were in the football game today. But, defense, kind of a mess, but the offense really looked actually suitable, actually a functionable offense with Wayne Gallman. The point is that Ben McAdoo is not going to keep this up. They'll never go under the eye. They will never play tough football under Ben McAdoo, and I guarantee against San Diego, they'll throw it 50-plus times, and I'll want to pull my hair out. But today I looked at this game, and this is the formula I like. I like, Eli throwing it around 30 times and them running the ball about, give me at least 20 runs, please. That's all I ask for, is for you to attempt. It doesn't take a lot to please me, but if you run the ball 20 times, I will be pleased as a fan. I will be pleased. You look at other teams around the NFL and the Eagles today, the team I hate the most and I hate since I was a kid, they ran the ball, they had an 8-minute drive that was absolutely spectacular. The Eagles look like a damn good football team. And the New York Giants and Ben McAdoo have a lot of talent, but they simply won't run the ball. And with Odell Beckham screaming and wanting the football, you don't need Odell Beckham. You trade him for linemen, you get rid of Odell Beckham Jr., unless you can't get rid of him at all, unless you don't get the proper payment back for him. Because you have Shepard, you have Roger Lewis, you have Marshall, you're fine. Eli Manning isn't going to win you football games at 36 years old, throwing it, 40-plus times a game, but Ben McAdoo's so dumb, he thinks that system can work. And if he's like Chip Kelly, if he's a one-trick pony and he's a West Coast offense guy, get him the heck out of here. That's the point about the Giants, is that they try to conform to the rest of football rather than being good at what they do. Okay? Say that like everybody's losing weight. Like this is my analogy. Say you're a 5'10", strong as hell. You're strong as hell. You get some pretty hot girls. You're a strong, muscular guy. That's the analogy. And it's like everybody's going thin and eating salad, but you're still a strong 5'10" guy. And then you decide, I need to be thin like the rest of society, so then I lose all this weight, and now I'm like anorexic and thin, and I'm trying to fit in and trying to be cool. Instead of being a little bit buff and a little bit fat, you're now just thin, 5'10", and you can't get laid and can't get any chicks. That's what the Giants have tried to do. In the 21st century, what do football teams do? It's kind of the pussification of football. It's Texas Tech. It's basketball on grass. What they do is screen passes. Everybody's throwing. What are the New York Giants? We are old school. We are ugly. We are hats on hats. We are line up in the fullback and smash someone's fucking face in. That's Giants football. But apparently, Mara is so damn insecure that we've tried to conform to what the NFL does. And we try to be like McVay and be like all these other teams. We ain't these other teams. We are blue collar, run the football. I don't care. Let's be 1990 New York Giants. I don't care. That's what's going to win games. That's what New York Giants and New Jerseyans pay their tax dollars to go to the stadium and see. I don't need basketball on grass. I watch that. I get my Big 12 in. I watch Oklahoma State, Texas Tech for that kind of shit. You know what I mean? I watch the New York Giants for running the football. I watch it for Brandon Jacobs. I watch it for Ahmad Bradshaw. I watch it for ground and pound and toughness. Against the Eagles, I don't give a shit that the Giants came back versus the Eagles last week. I left that game, third quarter, I left my house. I just drove right to Wendy's. I just drove in my car. I just drove and drove and drove. I was like Tim Riggins hitting balls off of a cliff. I was like that kind of depressed guy. I just drove and drove. I found this highway, this rural highway, and I just drove. And I listened to the entire fourth quarter in the car. And, I heard the Giants coming back, and I was kind of excited. Again, that cognitive dissonance comes in where you love your team, you hate the Eagles so much, but you realize that you have a dud as a head coach. And today, watching the game, that team, the Giants actually played all right. They actually started to run the football. So then I'm like, wow, it all kind of hits home, right? Because as a Giants fan, you want Ben McAdoo gone. You want to see the changes. But then the second that an Eagles fan will start talking shit and that drowning photo of Odell Beckham on Bleacher Report, that fucking killed me. That just, because it hits you. It hits you right here in your damn chest when you see Bleacher Report, when you see your Eagles friends all talking shit about how you're 0-4, about how they're winning the division and how you're dead. That shit kills you inside. But then you remember Ben McAdoo being a dick to Eli Manning, and you remember Ben McAdoo staring into that play sheet, and you're like, is it worth it to lose games and fire this fat ass, or do you want to get laughed at from the rest of the league? It's a tough conundrum to be. It's a tough spot that we are in as fans because this isn't a rebuild. We don't need to rebuild this thing. The castle is there. The pieces are there. Collins is here. Jackrabbit, Cromartie, Casillas, Vernon, Pierre-Paul, Snacks, Tomlinson, B.J. Goodson. This team is loaded and legit. Sterling Shepard, Ingram, Brandon Marshall, Gallman, Justin Pugh, Weston Richburg, and Eli. This team can win a Super Bowl right now, and we're sitting at 0-4, and we've had a really tough schedule, but let's recap the game so far. The Dallas Cowboys game was complete dog shit. The team played awful. The team sucked. It was a horrendous performance of football. The Dallas Cowboys game was one of the worst games that I've ever watched in my entire life. We couldn't hold the ball for 1 second. For 1 minute, we couldn't get one fucking first down in the Dallas Cowboys game. Okay, one. We couldn't get one first down. We couldn't run the ball on their ass. We couldn't do anything. We were squeezed to death by Rod Marinelli. It was one of the ugliest games I've ever watched in my life. Then we went to Detroit, and Detroit just took us, threw us down a ditch, and then shoveled that ditch up with tons of shit and just kind of wiveled us into it. And after the Detroit game, I was laughing because I was trying to hide my pain at what I just witnessed. I had just witnessed on a national stage one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. So that's 8 quarters of complete shit, of the worst things I've ever seen. Then the Eagles game 14-0, get the ball on the half-yard line, and you're throwing from the half-yard line like we alluded to. That is 3 quarters, but that is 11 quarters of some of the worst shit that I've ever seen in my life. And then I was like, Ben McAdoo, get the heck out of my face. I can't stand this team anymore. Then the 4th quarter, Eli Manning, basketball on grass. They happen to hit a couple of plays. The Eagles D's tired. I was like, whatever. It's just throwing. They still can't run the ball. They still aren't going to be anything. And then today I expected Tampa Bay to whoop the Giants' ass. I expected more shit. But instead I got a good effort. I got Wayne Gallman running the football. I got Eli Manning functioning well. I got a little bit of a balance. And suddenly I'm looking at the damn schedule, and this is how dumb I am. I'm thinking, wow, if the Giants can beat the Chargers, can beat, Denver and the Seahawks, we can be right back in this thing. And then I read Justin Pugh says we're not giving up. And tonight, guys, I'm honestly coming to you, and I'm not as upset by what I saw because I saw Wayne Gallman running the football. And as long as the Giants have a little bit of a ratio, I will not get mad. Okay, Ben? Please just don't make me mad. Just give me a little bit of a ratio, please. If the Giants ratio it out, they're going to kill San Diego or LA, whatever the heck you call them. Giants are going to win a game next week, and then it all comes down to Denver. That's going to be the ultimate measuring stick game because if the Giants, decide to run it on Denver, you can't throw against Talib. You can't throw against Chris Harris. You cannot throw against those guys. Even their new safety that replaced TJ Ward is damn good. It's going to be a freaking war with Von Miller, with Brandon Marshall. That defense is great. That's why it's a wonderful test, and Denver always plays well in Denver. So will be a great test. Run the damn football. Keep me sane. And Ben McAdoo needs to communicate better with his team. But I am very excited because if the Giants can beat Denver, they can make the playoffs because then their schedule's downhill from there. They'll host Seattle at home. If the Giants can beat, it all depends on Denver. Next week's going to be a win. The Denver Sunday night game will be the season. And the Giants are talented enough to run the table and make some serious noise if they could beat Denver because they actually started to run the football. They showed me something different, and I'm starting to buy in a little bit, and it's going to be easy now. Now the decision's easy. If they lose to Denver and embarrass themselves on Sunday Night Football in 14 days, we just go ahead and get rid of McAdoo, which I'd almost prefer because Ben, to tell you the truth, it's 2 things with Ben. He doesn't run the ball, and he kind of is an asshole. He doesn't socialize on the sideline. He doesn't inspire his team. He doesn't hold the team together. He lets Odell get away with too much. You need to be able to socialize. It isn't like college with Chip Kelly with 150 guys on Oregon's campus where he doesn't need to say shit to them, and he could just go sit in his office and twirl around in his chair and watch film. You actually need to socialize with your team, and let's see if Ben McAdoo can do that and not be a complete asshole. A couple of other thoughts about the NFL season before I dip out. Crazy fucking shit today. The Rams beating the Cowboys. It just shows you how special Sean McVay is. I'm not sold on Jared Goff. The guy doesn't have a lot of skill, can only throw the ball about 40 yards, but when you have a coach that can utilize every single breakdown of the Cowboys defense, then you're doing pretty damn good. So, Jared Goff hitting Todd Gurley, hitting Kupp. I need to go back and watch a lot of that game, okay? So I'm very, very impressed. Carolina, Cam Newton, what a performance today. Guy's a big money player. Unlike Jared Goff, Cam Newton actually has unbelievable skill. Head coaching, I'm kind of iffy on, but for them to go into New England to get a win today, for them to win that game, that momentum is going to carry them really well. So that defensive line, you already have a tremendous. I don't care that Brady put up big numbers today. Kawan Short, Vernon Butler, Peppers, Star Latui, that's the best front in all of football. Add that with Kuechly and Thomas Davis, they have the best front 7 in the league. Add in Bradbury and McSorley or whoever, Daryl Worley. Add those 2 guys getting more experience in because last year their secondary was dog shit. So now, if their secondary learns to grow the heck up and Bradbury can play better and these 2nd and 3rd rounders can play better, sky's the limit for this team. So McCaffrey, Curtis Samuel, Kelvin Benjamin coming back and playing well. So Carolina with a big statement win. How about New Orleans? How about Sean Payton getting it 2-2? Everyone thought that Saints defense was dog shit. They went out and shut down the Dolphins today. Very manageable schedule. Sean Payton could be the coach of the year in football. Better watch out for these Saints because they're winning in a multitude of ways. They're not winning by shootouts. They're winning playing defense. 2 consecutive weeks of unbelievable defense from New Orleans. Way to go, Saints. You laid 2 eggs, but now you're back to an even playing field, and I'm proud of you. Way to go, New Orleans Saints. Huge, huge win today. Okay. Then we have the Buffalo Bills. I'm not a believer in Buffalo. I think Tyrod Taylor in this offense is still terrible. I think LaShawn McCoy's awful. I don't think that they're going to be making the playoffs. But for Sean McDermott to go into Atlanta, that's a game that Buffalo almost never wins versus good teams on the road. And for Sean McDermott to step up and for this defense to play hard, I like this Buffalo Bills team. I like a lot of the pieces that they have on defense. I like Trey White. I like Zay Jones. I like the character. I like McDermott, how he's like a cheerleader on the sidelines. Darius is a good player. They, again, have some pieces on the front 7 that if they play hard and are committed can be good. Kyle Williams, a couple of linebackers. So Lawson is still there. So Buffalo, what a win. Shocking as all hell. Deshaun Watson going off today. I mean, Brett Coleman of the Film Room, a good buddy of mine, compared Deshaun Watson to Alex Smith, but this guy stepped the hell up. I mean, 5 touchdown passes. Mike Mularkey is garbage. That whole AFC South will always be garbage. They are always going to just turn in their seats. They're never going to take that step. They're always going to go to the bar. They're never going to talk to the hot girl. They're never going to get the hot girl. That's the AFC South for you in a nutshell. The Jags did exactly what I thought the Jags would do. The Jets getting 4 points. Any team that gets 4 points in their home stadium, not in London, against the Jags, that's criminal. That's taking money. And I knew that the Jets would win today. I knew the Jags would jag off. I knew the Jags would jag. And that's what happened with Jacksonville and Blake Bortles. This team will always shoot itself in the foot. Tennessee will do that too. These are 2 teams that are not elite, don't know how to win, don't have coaching staffs, don't know how to win and sustain success. And that's what you're seeing in the AFC South. The Texans will win it again by default, okay? The Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson had a nice game. They're not as good as they showed today, and they won't be as bad as they showed versus the Bengals with their offense. So, Houston, 2-2, and they're going to win that division pretty handily. I wouldn't, again, with the Los Angeles Rams, I wouldn't completely buy them. I don't think that they're making the playoffs at all. I think Seattle's still winning that division fairly easily. I think Seattle's still going to beat Jared Goff. Everyone's going to be riding the wave of the LA Rams. I love Sean McVay. I'm not sure Jared Goff is the answer, though. I'm not really sold on how he can throw the football. It was a very impressive win versus the Cowboys with 11 days to prepare. So I give the Rams a ton of credit there for going in to Dallas and getting a win. I do, and I love Sean McVay. I'm super high on Sean. I thought Kyle Shanahan and the Niners, even though they are 0-4, they have lost 3 of their games. They have lost, let me think about this for a second. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks. I think they only got blown out 1 time. They're 0-4. They've lost 3 games by a combined 8 points. So if I'm the Niners, if you're a Niner fan, you have to be encouraged by what you saw from Saleh. You have to be encouraged by what you saw out of this game. They had tons of opportunities to win it. Phil Dawson Robbie Gould, 5 field goals. They were beating Arizona the entire game, but it's very correctable. They can learn how to win. They're going to get a franchise quarterback. This is totally the right team. The team would have withered in the past. Kyle Shanahan is the guy there, and he will get things rolling. You just need to display patience for you guys to be okay. Like it and share this video. Like it and share it. A lot of profanities tonight. I know I will be more clean. Hey, guess what? It's almost into the Adult Swim midnight hour. Giants just lost. Next live stream might be clean, might be very buttoned up, might be drier than a bone, but tonight I was letting it fly. It's Periscope, it's YouTube. Our show is going to let it fly, and if you're offended by cursing, there will be shows where I will be kept to the vest and where I will not curse at all. But tonight, I just felt like letting it all out. It's going to cursing in some instances. I don't like shows that curse all the time, but cursing for emphasis, I do think has a place. And it's just words. And this is just a podcast, and it's just football. And in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really mean a whole lot at all. But you know what? To me, it kind of does. And I like football to mean a lot. A lot of people say losing is football is just a game. Well, I love if football is ratcheted up because football is fun as heck. And even with Eagles fans piling on you right now, to fight back and claw back to the NFC East, that climb and that journey, that's what it's all about. And the people that say, oh, it's just a game, the people that say, oh, it's just a game, they're no fun. They're no fun at parties. They're no fun. This should mean a lot. Now, don't go out hurting people over this shit, but this football should be something you cherish, crave, and care about. And that's what I believe in. I believe that you should care deeply about this shit. I really do. All righty, guys. Have a great night. A lot of live streams today. So I guess that's just the nature of the beast. We only have a few Sundays to enjoy this. And I'm going to dip out right now, probably watch Curb, probably watch Vice Principals, a little HBO hour of back-to-back to try to get this loss a little bit out of my system. We will see you all on the flip side. Bye-bye.